All right, good morning, viewers. Welcome to Global Entertainment News Breakfast Show, your daily dose of news and updates. I'm Stephen, your host, and joining me today in the studio is.
Bella,
We're taking today's story from Punch and Vanguard newspaper. Today's top story from Punch: federal government scrabbles the adverse against schools shut down over 4 trillion naira debt. Minister of Power has pledged to address 4 trillion naira electricity debt owed by Gencos, which saw the electricity distribution company threaten a shutdown on Monday. Weighing in on the development, the special advisor to the Power Minister Bolaji Tunji said the government is aware of the development and making concrete steps to resolve the lingering issues. He said as part of the steps taken by the government, the Minister of Finance will take charge of the payment very soon. The media aide responding in a chat on Monday said, "We are not unaware of these steps arising from federal government's commitment on subsidy. Part of the debt are legacy debts which were on the ground before the Minister of Power assumed office."
imagine owing debt to the, how will I say, the Genco and Nigeria owing debt of 4 trillion naira to Genco. And then let me say, Disco in Nigeria is still suffering another blackout and light is not even stable. I wonder how that is going to make our politician, our leaders feels like if they are doing actually the right thing, because I feels like this is not they are not doing anything of I don't think they are doing anything at all. Because if we begin to list out all the things that we expected our leaders to do, life should be one of the things, because how are we going to be coping with all this? Owing 4 trillion naira to Genco, like how?
So I think it's very, very alarming in this situation whereby the nation alone is even so we obviously we are suffering from when it comes to shortage of electricity in the country, and we still face the fact that we are owing debt of 4 trillion naira. Just imagine paying that debt off. Even though we pay that debt off, it doesn't solve any problem. For you to be able to owe a debt of 4 trillion naira, that means you borrowed money. Let's just assume 4 trillion naira was borrowed from Genco to solve a particular problem. Was that problem really solved?
No.
So we are owing debt to a debt that we can't pay back. We are not even seeing the effect of the debts being owed, and it's very bad when it comes to these issues. I tell you. All right, moving on to our next story from Punch. Driver arrested for dumping refuse on expressway. The driver has been arrested by the officials of the Lagos State Environmental Task Force for illegally dropping refuse along the Lekki-Epe Expressway. The Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, announced the arrest on Monday via a post on the official X, formerly Twitter account. According to Wahab, the offender was caught in the act and promptly apprehended by the task force operative. The vehicle used for the illegal dumping was also seized.
This is not even a new thing, because when you are going to talk about Loma in Lagos, those ones are still charging fees to take refuge, and then you walk around Lagos, even the city side, there's so much, you're filled with so much stink coming out of the air, like the air you are breathing, you can't even feel comfortable about it. And then you just be like, things are not being done, because if people like this continue going around dumping refuge on every street, every expressway that they know, even the water self is polluted with different type of dirt. And then is this actually a city that they are talking about?
Lagos is actually filled with different kind of people, different characters, different ethnic groups. If you come to Lagos, there's no part of a tribe you will not see in Lagos State, even in the world. Almost everybody in the world, almost every countries in the world, at least a citizen of almost every country in the world resides in Lagos. So Lagos is filled with different ethnic group and different mentality. You see
I
someone
would
that will eat you see someone that finish using a takeaway food to eat inside a car, the person is going to fling it outside. You also see someone that drinks, probably finish drinking a drink, he flings it outside. So all this kind of thing pollutes the environment and it makes the environment
Unhygienic.
unhygienic. If not for the help of these scrabble pickers that pick scrabbles on the road and everything, plastic scrabbles. I tell you, Lagos, the way Lagos is now, is going to be even worse than it is now. If not for the recycling and everything, if you go almost every places in Lagos, you see plastic, you see nylon, you see different things on the floor, cartons scattered everywhere. But now that we've seen people coming out to pick things on the floor, they call it, I think they recycle those things. They have actually tried to reduce uh, the fact of having different things on the road.
Uh,
But still, yet Lagos has also has is still, to me. I support the fact that there's someone that came out. There's the last one, the last 2 weeks to say Lagos things. I tell you honestly, Lagos things. To be honest,
it's not as if honestly Lagos actually stink. I remember when I was in the bus and then this awful stink filled the air. I had to rush to my bag and get my nose mask. Like someone was sitting very close to me, was so comfortable about the stink, and I feels like okay, this person has already been used to the stink in Lagos. I was in Lagos and then I can testify that this thing. I feels like this thing is not just basically in Lagos. When we are going to talk about Nigeria, we're going to feel like a whole lot of space, a whole lot of place, a whole lot of states in Nigeria are used to this polluted air, stinking environment, and then they call it as if it has been with us. Like death does not kill. Like who told you that?
Lagos is actually congested with so many people. Before you walk, if you walk an hour from a place to a place, you will see that there is no space for ventilation. Even trees are not even growing again in Lagos because almost everything has been occupied with buildings and
And
everything.
all that. And
So
then
it's congests the air
that
system.
even supposed to be adding fresh air into the, because right now a whole lot of people is complaining about heat when there's no trees, nothing like that. How do you expect the air to come in naturally? How?
That's something we are really facing in Lagos State. Alright, moving on to our next story from Punch. Tinubu orders offensive fresh Plateau attack leaves 51 dead. President Bola Tinubu has strongly condemned the violence in Plateau State, urging the state's leadership to find a lasting solution to persistent communal conflict. This comes after at least 51 people were again killed by gunmen with score injured in the early hours of Monday in Zeki and Kepa community in Basa local government area of the north-central state 2 weeks after deadly clash in another part of the state left several dead. Last week, the National Emergency Agency said gunmen had killed at least 52 people and displaced nearly 2,000 others over several days of attack in Plateau State, which has had a history of violence between farmers and cattle rearers. On Monday, residents said 51 bodies had been recovered in Izaki and Kamakpa village in Plateau's Basi district, while several more were reportedly injured rather.
I'm not I don't feel like there's anything for me to say about the president coming out to make a defensive or stronger, because this thing is we are beginning to live with it, because I feels like we in Nigeria we have become something else to accept the fact that when a particular state is being attacked by terrorists, headers, or whatever, all we just have to do is to go to social media and then report that there was a tweet or I witnessed so fight or a killing in this so part of the state, and then so many people were left dead, and then we just have to rant on that social media and then pull each other. When the other says it was right, the other will say it was wrong. The other, like, we just have to pull each other, and then after a few days we let it all go. Then this thing is still going to be continuing. There is no going to be a stop with it. We are still going to be getting killing. Imagine if those terrorists, Boko Haram, were done in the northern part, and there is no one left in the northern part for them to slaughter and kill. Where do you think they are moving into?
Well, I tell you, you see, the country is really suffering when it comes to that part of the nation. I tell you, Plateau has been a very quiet state that never had issues like this. But since when these herdsmen and cattle um, violence
terrorists and all that.
came in, everything has been going ups and down. And what pains me part is that the governor of that state, to me, I don't see what the governor is really doing there, because you can't be having issues and disaster in your country, killings every day by day, people displaced, people run away from their community just to, and your governor there is not really doing anything to avert those issues. And I think it's really really alarming, and the federal government really needs to look into if it should deploy military personnel into that state
I
to
feel like
reduce things like that.
our leaders are very greedy and selfish. There was a video I saw yesterday. It's the Ekiti State. Is it I don't know which of the position he held that actually created a charging point in somewhere in like a place that people can charge their phone, because since the electricity is not good enough, he actually needed to use a wood to make a place for people to charge their phone. And I was like, and he had to go there and oh my god, Nigeria is just so funny. And then I feel like every day we wake up to drama, like, okay, there is no light, nothing is being done, and then what a sitting leadership is doing is to create a vex, a charging pole for people to be charging. And then that was the great thing. He was even he asked that he should be videos while doing that. Can you imagine?
Well,
The,
in this country we are used to adapting to the wrong things. I tell you,
oh my
it's
god.
very very bad for we to be facing this kind of thing in this century, and the way the world is actually moving. It's as if the country is moving back from
We are really moving
the
backward.
world,
We are
and
not moving forward at all.
it's
We
not
are really,
encouraging.
really moving
I tell you,
backward.
we really need to seek on bringing in the Western Union to at least that, if it's possible for them to come into our government and assist with the way things are going in this country. We are not actually moving forward. We are moving backward.
Very backward.
All right, moving up to our next story from Punch. Police arrest teacher for assaulting 10-year-old Borno people. The Borno State Police Command has arrested a 30-year-old teacher, Buka Modu, for allegedly assaulting a 10-year-old boy, Bashir Babaji, for absconding from class in a Bula Balloon area, Maduguri, the state capital. The command public relations officer, Kenneth Dasso, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. A video has gone viral over the weekend showing the suspect whipping the minor with a whip while another unidentified young boy poured water and sand on the minor. The beating persisted despite the cries in the minor and his wrangling in pain, with the teacher placing his leg on the minor to prevent him from running. Wow, I think this is actually bad. It's actually bad, I
It's
tell you.
like a human cruelty.
It's, it's, it's,
You can't actually expect a minor to. This thing has become something very normal. In the times of when there was no phone and social media to record all this, several of us actually witnessed that. Even our parents too. They feels like the more you beat a child, that is the more they are going to pay attention, like hear you and then obey you. It only creates fears. Like when they wanted to open up to you, they won't be able to open up to you. Something that they needed to tell you, or if they are being assaulted some outside you, they're going to be scared, because beating a child does not even actually give them the knowledge to know that this what they did is wrong. You are just giving them another strong heart.
Scientifically, sef, beating the child sef reduce the brain of the child, because I tell you, I've not seen a child that you beat. Just imagine, just put yourself in a scenario where you beat a child every day and you expect that child to be doing well academically.
The child is going to get used to that beating.
Yeah, because it's going to feel that okay, what the brain needs to be assessing at that particular moment. It brings the child back, because the child is going to be believing, if I do this, I'm actually going to be facing this. If I do this, I'm going to face this. Most parents nowadays they've cultivated the habit of the lesser you beat the child, the better. It's more than when you punish a child. I think the child feels that punishment than you beating the child. Because when you deprive the child of doing a particular thing, it happens. But in this scenario where you have to flog a minor to the extent that you place your leg on the person's neck, it's actually, it's, to me, it's inhuman. And I think arresting that particular teacher as the best step for the command to take at that moment. We investigate more on that issue to know what really happened in that scenario. All right, moving up to top story from Vanguard this morning. US judge step Trump move to revoke 500,000 immigrants legal status. A federal judge on Monday blocked US President Donald Trump administration from quickly revoking the legal status of hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Haiti. The ruling by District Judge Indaria Tawani in Boston is the latest order against Trump's rapid push to carry out massive mass deportation, particularly targeting Latin Americans. In March, the administration said it was moving to revoke the legal status of some 532,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans who came to the United States under a parole program initially launched by former President Joe Biden in October 2022. The court grants emergency relief, staying the termination of parole process for Cuban, Haitians, Nicaraguans, Venezuelan. Tawani wrote in order. Well, I think this is actually it's to me. Oh, I see it as unfair to some people because you just imagine you coming to a country through a particular process and you've been staying in that country, you enjoyed this happened I think in 2022. You've enjoyed your 2 years there already, and a new law comes in and states that you all that came to that program should be evacuated.
Well,
It's actually pained.
it's not as if it should be a pain because I feels like if you go somewhere like a visit to someone's house and then the date has been given, okay, there was an agreement, okay, 2 years, or let me just use it as a family you wanted to visit for just a week or two, and then you ended up spending, because that person has already made preparation of the days that you're going to spend, the money that needed to be spent, the provision and all that has already been made, and then you now extended the staying and all that, and then if the person was expecting you to leave but you're not leaving, you're staying more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and you're still there, a month is going, you're still there, you're not talking about how to live, that person is going to feel like it never plans for this. It was never an agreement. So instead of them staying continuously, it's better for them to go back to their states, plan a proper migration, and then come back and stay legally instead of them staying on a visiting and tour. It's not supposed to be like that.
Well, Donald Trump has always been a very strict man when it comes to his making his policies, and I think for the judge having to back this away from Donald Trump's way, for him not to have his way the way he wanted, was 2,000 people, is 532,000 people. It's not easy
Yes, to
to
deport at
to deport at
once,
once. So it's gonna be a very
batch by batch.
big step by
Exactly.
the US. All right, moving up to our next story from Vanguard this morning. Herders protest alleged illegal detention of members. Leaders of the Mighty Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, in Oyo State yesterday protested the alleged illegal detention of their members and non-inclusion in the Oyo State Government Law Enforcement Agency. Led by the sacking Fulani of Oyo State, Alhaji Yakubu Bello, they complained that the herders detained for violation of anti-grazing law in the state were innocent of the allegation leveled against them. While speaking with the newsman Alhaji Bello and the licensed officer of the association, Adam Abubakar Dia, alleged that some herders were illegally arrested by the state rule of law enforcement agency and remanded in prison within without listening to them. Bello said our members who were arrested were innocent of the offense they accused them of. They were arrested illegally. They accused they argued that the critical stakeholders in the state they should be among members of the committee. They called on the relevant stakeholders to intervene, noting their commitment to the security, and peaceful coexistence in the state.
I feel the thing about the header that is actually going on in most of the states right now, but headers destroying farmland and then killing people at the same time is just one of the things I feels like, because right now Nigeria is in the fear of they don't know which one is the real header and and the one posting as a terrorist and all that, killing people and then destroying farmland. This is really a terrible one, because I'm still going to stand on this fact that if the government can actually make this order of each and every header should own a ranch to themselves, instead of parading these cattle and then destroying farmland and then leading to violence and killing, it's going to save a whole lot of trouble in the country. Because first of all, even if they didn't go into farmland and then destroy, there's going to cause a whole lot of traffic. A whole lot of pollution is going to be coming out of it, because imagine them visiting everywhere on the street and then defecating and all that. That is not supposed. If they keep them in a ranch and then collecting all those their and then using it as another purpose, is very very beneficial than for them parading them everywhere.
Well, I believe the government knows who is the header and who is the headsman. But let me use that word because there are two sides of these allegations now. Having people saying they are being arrested illegally, that they are not the ones killing. But I think the security personnel they really need to look into this issue. They should be able to know who is doing these bad deeds and who is not doing these bad deeds. Because if they are really working efficiently, we shouldn't be having issues like this of arresting um, innocent people instead of arresting the
The
accused.
real target.
So I think this is a job for the um, police command and in that state to be able to analyze this issue well. All right, moving up to our next story from Vanguard this morning. Two killed, 23 injured in Ebonyi State auto crash. Two persons has been confirmed dead while 23 others were injured following an accident in the Uboru in Ohazara local government area of Ebonyi State. A 508 bus carrying over 25 passengers, including children, lost control at a sharp bend, colliding with another vehicle and somersaulted, leading to the death of two persons. Eyewitness says that the victim, Ebonyi State indigene who reside in Imo State, were returning from a burial ceremony in Oporike, Abakaliki, when the accident happened. He said a 9-month-old child and an adult female were confirmed dead at David Umari Federal University Teaching Hospital, Dufut, Uburu. The hospital public relations officer, Agu Wogo, said 18 passengers, including the driver, were under treatment for fracture, laceration, and brain injury, while an 11-month-old child in critical condition on a respirator. He said four others were minor injured were discharged.
This is actually let me say, it's something that it's when it comes to road accidents or traveling by road, we all pray that let there be safe exit and all that, that we should not collide it. And then this thing is really a painful one. A 9-month-year-old child is, I feel that that is actually a lot, because you can't imagine how many months you have carried a child in your belly, and then at the same time, this is really really a
Well,
heartbreak.
I think this is to me is really touching, and my condolences to those that lost their families in that accident and those that are being in the hospital. I think it's not really easy having fractions. Brain, we also there was a report about some that
Brain
had
damage.
brain damage and everything. Having 25 people cluster in a bus, and when accident occurs like that, so many things happen. People trying to survive, people trying to look for a way
Exactly.
to escape things, and having a car somersaulting is the worst thing when it comes to accident, because you don't know. Some people will go unconscious while the boat somersaults. So it's really I think what the government really need to do in this scenario is to be able to maintain this road speed limit and everything. Having a
Exactly.
sharp bend, there should be cautions. There should be cautions about
A
going to a
sign and
sharp
all
bend and
that.
knowing that okay, this place you are going to is very very dangerous. And most of the vehicles being used nowadays are not well serviced to be able to get those kind of turn
Exactly.
and everything. And drivers alone self, we also have to question a little blames on the driver because if you are using a good speed limit at that sharp bend, I don't think that scenario would have happened at all. Probably the driver was on a high speed in that turning, and it's something we really need to look into. Once again, my condolences to those that lost their life in that
Same here.
scenario. All right, moving up to our next story from Vanguard this morning. Army rescues 16 kidnapped passengers in Plateau. Troop of the 3rd Division Nigerian Army and Operation Safe Haven (OPSH) has rescued 16 passengers kidnapped along the Jos Mango Road by bandits in Plateau State. The rescue operation began when troop conducting Operation Lafiyan Jama'a discovered an empty vehicle abandoned by the roadside at Marabana Kantoma in Magun local government area of the state about 9 p.m. local time on Sunday. Spokesman of the OPSH, Major Samson Zakon, said the troop immediately searched the nearby bushes to trace the occupant of the vehicle suspected to have been kidnapped. The kidnappers, on sighting the troop, opened fire, but own troop overwhelmed the criminals with superior firepower, forced them to abandon the victim and flee. Troop exploited the general area and rescued all 16 adopted passengers, which includes 6 children. Wow, I think this is actually well.
It's hard in one. I must say this is actually a heartbreak, a very bad administration to Nigeria right now because
The rate at kidnappings, the rate at which
like
kidnappers are really
seriously,
doing this job in a free zone. Just imagine kidnapping passengers in a bus. You just block the road, you kidnap the whole people in that bus, taking them into the bush. It's very, very to even travel by road now is now very
it's not
scary.
very scary. You be scared of your life. You feels like you don't even want to encounter accidents. You don't want to encounter kidnappers. You don't want to encounter anything bad. Like it's really annoying.
Well, I think it's this administration has really recorded a lot of kidnappings. I tell you, just imagine someone you are afraid of moving on the road. You are afraid of doing this. You are afraid of doing that. You should not be afraid of being kidnapped on the road again. It's
Exactly.
very very bad. I tell you. Just imagine as if
I
if if the army troop were not available at that moment to be able to come into the aid of those people. Just imagine they'll be taken away just like that and being asked for ransom and everything. It's
from people that are traveling by road that they don't even have money. So, like, I don't even really understand. I feels like our leaders needed to come into this all this thing needed to be evacuated so that Nigeria can have peace. We are not even longer at peace, even in our own home.
and most of these people, if they are not able to pay for ransom, you might even be taken to sold to a particular people to cut off
Traffickers.
their parts and use their parts for different things. Because for someone to come out to the street and kidnap someone like that, and you don't see what to get from that person, there are so many options for them. They will probably sell them by trafficking or sell their body parts to
To
people that will.
organ harvester. Like, oh my God.
All right, viewers, today thank you for joining us on the breakfast show today. I've been your host, Steven. Be sure to join us tomorrow again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms for news and updates. I've been your host today. God bless you. Have a blessed day.